Okay, kids, let's do a quick little tutorial on how this 3D goalie mask template for Procreate works. I downloaded it again, so this is exactly as you will get it. You can see by the images, there are 4 different layers: the mask, the cage, the straps, the back plate. The layering gets a little bit confusing. I'll open it up and you can see here. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you're like selected on the section you want to be working on. So I'm on the mask, but like if I click this, then I'm going to be working on layers within the cage. So you got to make sure you're selected on in both ways that you want it, right? So you're on the mask, you want to be on a mask layer, and I've created these I pre-created these grouped layers because the layering can get confusing. So I did this to sort of make sure you stick within the sort of right idea, or it can get glitchy and get a little confusing. So you want to work on the mask, and then you select the mask layer, and I start at the bottom so that when you layer, you go up. If you want more, just duplicate or add a layer, but stay within the mask layers. When you're working on the mask, and the strap layers when you're working on the strap and cage and so on. So again, we pick the mask, we pick a mask layer, and now that means that we will be working on the mask, the goalie mask section of it. And just as an example of that, we can pick a color. Say you want to do a black mask, and then you can just drag it in and paint bucket it, and now the mask is black. And then you're like, oh, I want to do some big scary red eyes on there. Then, pick red, pick a brush. I'm an airbrusher. I often work with a airbrush tool. Whatever, draw yourself some eyes. Oh, my opacity's down. Draw some big scary eyes on there. And, you can just move it around with your fingers, pinch zoom, like you classically would. And that's sort of that. But the thing to consider again is always these layers, right? So now I want to, that red looks cool, I want to make the cage red, let's say. So what you want to do is you're going to pick the cage, and you'll see all the layers are shared. So when you pick a new thing, it's kind of different than how it works when you're working on 2D layers in Procreate. Now that I've picked the cage, everything just moves to underneath this cage layer. So what you want to do is be in the cage layer and then select one of these cage layers. And again, I start at the bottom. There was a bit of a glitch I found, which is why these cage layers have this. So don't need to worry about it. Just trust me that you want to go to the cage, and then you want to select a cage layer. And then now you can drag drop that in, and you've got a red cage. And the same thing goes for everything. Oh, the back plate we didn't make black yet. So now what you want to do is select the back plate, and then also through here, you could close these up to get it not so confusing looking. Find the back plate layers, select the back plate layer, and then go to black, drop it in. So everything works pretty good as far as like how Procreate works normally for painting and drawing, but the layering gets confusing. So the reason that I set this up to have these grouped layers is because there's some weird glitchy things that I was finding that were happening, that if you stick with this rule set, you won't find any problems. And you can just be painting on like a layer of the cage when you're actually working on the mask, and everything gets a little complicated. So for one more example, let's make the straps, I guess red, right? That would be cool looking. So what again I want to do is be on the strap layer, and then come here and pick the strap layers group. And again, I always start at the bottom, but that is where we want to be working from. And I can drop that in, and now I've got a black mask with red eyes and, you know, red stripes. And of course you can just like paint and draw whatever you want on any of the layers that you want. But I'm making the tutorial here for you more so to show you how to operate within the layers by selecting the section you want and then selecting also that layer to work within. And you're going to have a way better time, because otherwise super confusing. Okay, good luck, have fun, create.